All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could please have your attention. If I could please have your attention, we're going to get started with the class of 2017 for the Joliet Area Sports Hall of Fame. Again, if I could please get everyone's attention, we'd like to get started. Well, welcome to a special night, and what a beautiful facility. How many here are here at the museum for the first time? Raise your hand or hear a round of applause. First of all, where have you been? Second of all, we hope you come back. What a lovely facility, right? It's absolutely fantastic. They have parties up here frequently. Just go to their website. They'll give you all the information. And we'd like to welcome you. My name is Scott Slocum. I represent the Joliet Area Sports Hall of Fame Committee. The co-chairs are Dick Goss from the Herald News and Dave Laquetta, the athletic director from the University of St. Francis. This is a treat for me to stand up here and honor these people. Many of them, at least 4 of them tonight, since I've been in the area, and I've been in the area for a long time now, about 28 or 29 years, I never actually got to saw them perform when they were in their prime, with the exception of Irish O'Reilly, coaching over at Lewis University. I saw him when he was in his prime, and that was a treat. It truly was. I'll never forget Irish and his hard hat. He was wearing hard hats before you had to wear hard hats, and he was wearing hard hats before they were cool. Actually, they were never cool, but you still wore a hard hat, Irish, and we all teased you just a little bit. But in all seriousness, it's a treat. This area is littered with incredible men and women who did incredible things on the athletic field. If you look at your program here tonight, you will see 62 names of men and women who have gone in before our 5 tonight. 62. And we could have 562, but we're going to take our time and introduce and induct 5 people a year moving forward. We do have some previous Hall of Fame recipients that are here tonight. Bob Basarich went in the class of 2005. Let's hear it for Bob, the Lockport coach. You'll hear from him a little bit later on. Hank Pillard is here from Joliet Junior College. Hank, you went in 2006, and he's got his shirt on. Good to see you, Hank. Matt Seffner, the pride of Providence Catholic High School, is here. Hey, Seth. And we always save this one, the best for last. Billy Boy Thompson from 2004. Where you at, Billy Boy? There he is. If you guys want some of the best boxing stories ever, Billy will be available after the induction ceremony. Only half of them are true, though. Okay. I know, man. I love you. You know that. Without further ado, we'd like to thank the Joliet Museum for allowing us to be here. Eventually, we'd like to be here full time. We are in the process of a fundraising campaign, and we're about 1/5 of the way there, or 1/6 of the way there. So we are accepting checks. All of the items that you will see tonight that were donated by our inductees will go into the hall, along with jerseys from George Mikan, jerseys from Tom Thayer, jerseys from Bill Golickson, from Pam Gant, from Kathy Boswell. We have a treasure trove, and you'll see a lot of them downstairs in the temporary exhibit. A treasure trove of priceless memorabilia and even some more that has been donated here tonight that we'd like to put in here permanently, but we need a few funds. So if you know of anyone who has any money that would love to put their name on the museum, we'll gladly take it off your hands and we will make it worth your while. The executive director of the museum, or I think his official name is the curator, right? Whatever. It's Greg Peerbold. Has a few things to say about the museum. Greg?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We have a strict time limit on speeches tonight, so I'm going to be the first to honor that. First of all, I was kind of just thinking here of all the groups that made a night like tonight possible, and the number kept going up, and I think I'm at around 5 right now. I first want to acknowledge our sponsors. You see our sponsors in the program book, but also all of the food people are sponsoring tonight, so please give them a warm round of applause. Community-minded people, many of these, we've worked with them in the past, so please patronize both our sponsors and the restaurants that are here tonight. Also, our board of directors, I want to acknowledge them. We have some that are past board of directors present, but we've been blessed recently. I'd say Lynne Lichtenauer is our president with an influx of new board members, and some of them been at Joliet for 20 years, some of them 5 years old, young, very diverse group, and we're very excited for them. So if you're a board of director, please wave if you're not wearing your name tag. I think I got everyone. Even if you're a past board member, we want to thank all of you for really guiding this organization and making tonight's like this possible. I do also want to acknowledge the city of Joliet, who's a great partner for us. Mayor Odekirk was here earlier. He's blurring around in a green shirt. He's pouring drinks at Fiesta and Alcaye tonight, too. So you'll see him. But we really need to acknowledge the city of Joliet for making this facility possible and its ongoing support. And finally, this should be no surprise, our great staff makes all of this look easy, makes all of it look totally planned and flawless, which it was, but so please acknowledge our staff if you can. I want to thank them, and another great event, great night, making things go smoothly. And I'll just close with a thought. It hit me, I believe it was last year, when Oliver Gibson and Pat Sullivan were both getting inducted, and you had kind of a younger African-American guy in Oliver and an older Irish guy in Coach Sullivan, talking about growing up in the same neighborhood and talking about how sports lifted them up and sports gave them both great careers and really built them up and built this community up. So sports, they do matter. They do belong in the museum. It's right that we're talking about them. It's right that we're honoring people who have participated in them and have gone on to great accomplishments in their respective sports. So a very appropriate night and a very beautiful night. And with that, the bridge is going down, the Cass Street Bridge. So a very Joliet moment right now. So I'm going to kick it back over to Scott. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right.
We'll take the sweater real quick. All right, thanks. And where else can you find what was that? Was that a cone of meat? Where did my good. Well, I didn't make it too many games. Yeah, cone of meat. You see everything. You see everything. Again, please look in your program at some of our past inductees. Pretty remarkable. And this Hall of Fame goes back to 2003. And think about 2003, and not to take anything at all away from any of the other inductees, but we got together and we wanted to, it was hard to say who should go in the first hall, who shouldn't. Nobody's better than anybody else. But think about this class of 2003, the first year. Jesse Barfield, Gordy Gillespie, Bill Golickson, Larry Gura, Tom Howler, Don Lattis, Fizz Wills, Jim Stefanich, Ed Spezio, Ernest Pug Retner, and George Mikan. I mean, that is as good as any initial class as you will find anywhere in the country, and it's all right here in the Joliet area. So without further ado, we have 5 to go in. We're first going to start off with a wrestler, and Mr. Govani was nice enough to bring his Letterman's jacket from 1948. Right, Don? Is that right? 1948. That was the size XL. What weight did you wrestle at, Don? If anybody wants to buy it, he'll sell it for $200. Then it can go into that money will go to the Hall of Fame. It won't go to you, though. Lynne Lichtenauer is here. She is going to read the pre-speech to Mr. Don Govani. Lynne?
Thank you, Scott. It's a privilege for me to be here. Let me put on my glasses. It's my pleasure to introduce Donald Primo Govani. Don Govani captured his first of many wrestling crowns in 1947 when he completed an undefeated run to an Illinois State high school title at 138-pound classification. Shortly thereafter, inaugural Joliet Area Sports Hall of Fame inductee and broadcaster Don Lattis stated that the 1948 Joliet Township graduate could have won at any weight class that year. Don later became the finest all-around wrestler ever to compete for the University of Northern Colorado, according to the UNC coach, John Hancock. Don finished with a 42-4 career record. Don was a 2-time NCAA All-American for the Bears, finishing third at 157 pounds in both 1951 and 1952. In those years, colleges and universities of all sizes competed for one NCAA title per weight class. Don also claimed 3 Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference championships and once pinned Wisconsin's Don Ryan, a 3-time Big Ten champion and an outstanding wrestler of the Big Ten tournament. Don himself was never pinned during his 8-year career at the high school and collegiate levels and never had a near fall point scored against him during that same span of time. He went on to earn 2 other noteworthy crowns, a national AAAU title and the All Armed Forces Championship. In 1991, Don was inducted into the Illinois Wrestling Coaches and Officials Association Hall of Fame as a wrestler, and 6 years later was inducted into the Northern Colorado Athletic Hall of Fame. In 2001, Don was recognized as one of the top 100 Athletes of the Century at Joliet Township High School. I am proud to present to you 2017 Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Don Govani. And speaking on behalf of Don is his son, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So this is really a great honor. We really appreciate it. You know, obviously, I got to see my dad wrestle. I got to feel him wrestle a few times late night when I came home, but I never got to see him wrestle. It was a real honor my whole life to be associated with such an accomplished athlete, but really such an accomplished father as well. So we're grateful. And the fact that I never got to see him wrestle, I mean, there aren't too many people alive today, frankly, who got to see him wrestle. So the fact that he is recognized here tonight and that his name is still something that people remember and that will be remembered forever now is an honor, and my family is very grateful for this. So thank you very much. Thank you. Just say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
One time I used to.
No. Okay, so he's not in the Comedians Hall of Fame.
Here's this as well. Thank you very much. Thanks, Don. Thank you very much, Don. Each inductee, give me the next one, will get a plaque. Let me read you what the plaques say. And also, we have from State Senator Pat McGuire. Let me read you this for each of the 5 inductees. State of Illinois, the Illinois State Senate of the 100th General Assembly acknowledges our athletes in recognition of being inducted into the Joliet Area Sports Hall of Fame as a member of 2017 and joins in the commemoration of the effort, dedication, and hard work that led to the success and further expresses its best wishes for personal happiness. Senator Pat McGuire, this was read on the floor of the State Senate just a couple of weeks ago. So thank you very much to Senator McGuire. And the plaque will be given to each one of these inductees, and then their plaque will go into the hall once we place them all here at the museum. In recognition of the outstanding achievement and significant contributions you have made in the athletic arena to earn the Joliet area its distinction as a nationally recognized sports region. So those are 2 of the things that each will be handed tonight. Without further ado, let's move on to bowling. And these aren't Cindy's bowling shoes, I hope, are they? I don't believe so, but Cindy gave us a great picture that will definitely go up in the Hall of Fame. Mike Guglielmucci is going to introduce the Kontoses. They are going in separately, not as a couple. Important to point out they're going in separately. And Googs has the lowdown on Cindy Kontos.
Well, thank you very much. It truly is an honor to be here and be asked to induct these 2. I've met them, a couple of times before. It's a pretty good family, from what I understand, and a good bloodline. Cindy Kontos, to be the best once over a year span is impressive. To be the best 9 times puts one in an elite level status. Such is the case for Cindy Kontos, who gained that stage during a 23-year span from 1978 through 2000, when she was recognized as a Joliet Area United States Bowling Congress Bowling Association Queen. It started with a straight 5-year run from 1978 through 1982, with additions in 1984, 1991, 1995, and 2000. The early accolades came at the same time that she was accomplished on the Women's Professional Bowling Tour from 1979 through 1983. 2 years later, she was inducted into the Greater Joliet Area Bowling Hall of Fame in the category of Superior Performance. She added induction in the Illinois Bowling Association Hall of Fame in 1996. Team and individual titles have come aplenty through the years for Kontos, including 5 city team titles and 1 state team title. In doubles competition, she is paired up for 7 city titles, including 1 with her daughter Deanna and 1 state title. Kontos also claimed 7 city singles and all events titles. God almighty. Do I have to finish this? Let's just get to the point. She is a very, very good bowler. Kontos boasts 5 300 games and 1 800 series and 819 on her resume as well, to go along with a 216 average 1 year to lead the Joliet area. A co-owner of Joliet's Town and Country Lane, Cindy joins her husband George as just the second husband-wife team to be inducted into the Joliet Area Sports Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Cindy Kontos. Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. Awesome. Nice and loud. I would like to thank all of you. Thank you very much. But mostly, we know Mike a little bit, and it goes back a while. But I would like to thank the committee for this wonderful honor. And just to say the least, to be inducted with these gentlemen that are in here tonight. There's a lot of talent in this area this evening, and I'm blessed to be, included with them. One of them is my husband. And if it weren't for bowling, I probably would have never met George, which is true. We were on the other side of the tracks. I was from Stone City, he was from Town and Country. But but I do, he's been the backbone of part of my bowling. He's a great influence. He's tried to keep me grounded, which is pretty hard to do. And but he has the influence that he's put on me is not only me, but a lot of the bowlers in the area. And I do appreciate him and love him. And also, mostly to my family and friends, what can I say? It's been a long road. Yeah. From Stone City at the age of 9, what can I say? The craziness that happened at the Lanes, to going on the tour and having them back me and going into adult leagues and still being crazy. I guess it doesn't change. And then they've backed me more than I can say, and they've been a huge part of my life, and if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be standing here. Thank you. And there's also a couple people that aren't here tonight, but they were a big influence, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here tonight, but I know that they're up celebrating just as much as we will be tonight. Thank you again. It's a really good honor. Thank you.
Thank you. These are yours.
There you go, Cindy. Congrats, George. Another long page is coming up here, so if anybody needs a drink, you might want to get it now. This is true. It's truly an honor for me to induct this guy here. I've known him a couple years too. The odds of bowling a perfect game are approximately 1 in 11,500 for an average bowler. George Kontos is no average bowler, as evidenced by his 35 career 300 games. But what would one expect from a member of Joliet's first family of bowling? The Kontos name is synonymous with Joliet area bowling, and George is not disappointed. The co-proprietor of Joliet's Town and Country Lane since 1977, after his father John was an original partner in 1958. George got his start at the Lanes as early as 5 years old, and from there, the accomplishments mounted. Here we go. Besides the 300 games, there's one thing that we talk about. I hate scripts. One thing we talk about, if you shoot 300, that's a great night. If you want to impress me, shoot 800. Well, George Kontos has impressed us 12 times. 12 800 series, including one at the Nationals with his son John. 2 previous Hall of Fame inductions came his way. In 1987, the Greater Joliet Area Hall of Fame, the category of superior performance was his as well. In 2002, the Illinois Bowling Association. Kontos was also recognized as the Will County Open champion in 1984. Well, that was a hell of a party, too. The Joliet Area United States Bowling Congress Bowling Association King in 1990 and Senior King in 2013. and 2014. In 2001, the 5-man Joliet team outlasted 17,000 other teams from across the United States from March through June to capture the national team championship. Kontos was also part of both the 3 team state and city titles to go along with 1 city singles and all events title. He was also the Joliet area. He also led the Joliet area 1 year with a 230 average. Was that in your house or another one? Still pretty good. A 1972 graduate of Joliet West High School, Kontos was recognized as one of the top 100 athletes of the century for the Joliet Township High School system in 2001. Damn. It's my honor and privilege to induct my big brother, George Kontos, into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, here we go. It's not fair that I got to follow Mike and my wife. He was in tears, she was in tears. That's not good. First of all, I want to thank everybody at the Hall of Fame committee. Some of these guys, John Randish, I've known since high school. Of course, Scotty Slocum, I've known for 30 years. Dave Licetta, I've gotten to know the last 10 years. They're all pretty good guys. So this Hall of Fame is in a pretty good set of hands. But thank you. Thanks to everybody here at the museum. What a beautiful night. What a beautiful venue. It's great to have all these people together to celebrate an occasion like this. I want to introduce you to a couple people that are here tonight, first of all, before we go any farther. My daughter is sitting back there. I just caught her wiping her eye. Deanna Maria Kontos. She's my number 1. My number 2 is my son, John. He's sitting back there, too. And I should say our son, John. I had a small part in that thing, trust me. And of course, my son was married. I have a brand new daughter-in-law, Kelly. They got married last summer. So I want to thank them. Those 2 kids had to live in this shadow. It was pretty tough. But I got to coach them both in high school, so that was pretty cool. I have 2 sisters. Joni's not here tonight. She's a coach at SIU. Not she's a coach. Her daughter is a coach. And they have opening weekend. There's some kind of fall softball tournament, so she's down there with her daughter. But my other sister, Leah, is here. I don't know where Leah's at. Leah likes to tell everybody that she's the reason why I became a good bowler. She was my coach. In reality, she's my life coach. And if you know Leah, you know what I'm talking about. There's a couple other guys that are here tonight. I'm still competitive. I still bowl. I took these guys to Detroit last year, and we won a national tournament in Detroit in May. So I want to introduce, they're like brothers to me, Billy Russinellis and Nick Policandriotis. They're sitting back there. I'm very proud to be from Joliet, the city of champions. I attended grade school here. I attended Hufford, Taft School. I went to Joliet West, like Mike said. We just celebrated our reunion a couple weeks ago, so I was together with my high school buddies again. We had a great time. One of them's here tonight. Curdy, where you at? Curdy's back there. The biggest thing about bowling is it taught me about teamwork. I've had some great teammates, which I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my teammates, and I know that. I want to thank all my teammates throughout all the years. Some of them are here tonight. We won a national championship in 2001. There was 5 of us bowling that night. Probably the greatest night in my bowling career. And we bowled actually in March that year. And we had to wait till end of June to see if our score would hold up. And that night, when the tournament was getting over with, one of the guys got married. So we were all together, and we were calling Reno to find out how the scores were doing, and the score did hold up. So we became national champions. Every year we go back to the national tournament. This year it's in Syracuse, New York. And we are recognized and introduced in the squad room as past champions, which is still probably the coolest thing ever. And we have a big trophy that's at the bowling center. It's called the Joe Norris Trophy. I thought about bringing that trophy here to the Hall of Fame, but we still get such a kick out of walking by that trophy and looking at it 3 or 4 times a week that we couldn't part with it. I might loan it to him for a month or two, but we like that trophy way too much. We worked way too hard for that trophy, I'll tell you. One of my championship teammates is here tonight. Tom Hintz is sitting in the back. Tommy's waving. My 3 other teammates, 2 of them are fishing. One of them's, anyway. Joe Caldwell is one of my teammates. Harry Banks and Bobby Jekyll. Bobby Jekyll's a national tournament director for the PBA. He's in Ohio running a tournament today. But I want to recognize them. I'm telling you, this is all about teammates, and I got pretty lucky in my career. I've had some great teammates. The last teammate I want to mention is my life teammate.
Keep digging, baby. Keep digging.
We have created a pretty good life together. We got 2 great kids. But I'm very happy for her. She worked hard. I worked hard for her. She couldn't pick up a 7-pin. I had to teach her how to do that. But she bowled more professionally than I did. I didn't bowl professionally. She bowled professionally. I didn't get to bowl. I enjoyed eating on a regular basis. That's why I never went on the tour. Because there's 2 or 3 weeks where you don't get a check, you don't eat. I didn't like that plan. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. It's a great night. It's a beautiful night. I hope we all enjoy it. Life is good. I hope it turns out to be a great evening. Thank you. Thanks, brother. You got it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You just step right over that. All right, thank you.
Let me take my notes.
Got your notes. We don't put those on. Yes, you're good to go. Who's introducing our next? All right, we're going to move to baseball now. Lewis University in Romeoville. This gentleman won nearly 1,300 games, almost 1,300 games. To introduce Irish O'Reilly is the head coach of the University of St. Francis, Mr. Brian Michalak, who's on his way there also.
Thank you, Scott. I would like to thank the committee, Scott, and everyone and all the food people for putting on a great evening tonight. As we know, in sport, we have many ways that we honor our greats. And one of the ways that we honor our greats is by a single name. If you're talking basketball and someone throws out the name Magic, we all know we're talking about Magic Johnson. If we're talking golf and someone uses the name Tiger, we all know we're talking about Tiger Woods. In college baseball, anywhere in the country, if you throw out the name Irish, anyone who knows college baseball in the United States knows you're talking about Irish O'Reilly. Irish coached for, let me get my glasses on so I can read my notes. Irish coached for 38 years, which included 5 years at Bishop McNamara High School, 4 years at Kankakee Community College, where his 1974 team finished 7th at the NJCAA World Series, 29 years at Lewis University, where his teams totaled 982 victories, placing him 8th all-time among NCAA Division II coaches. While at Lewis, his teams won 8 conference titles, made 14 postseason appearances. His 1980 squad finished second in the NAIA World Series. His teams from 1988, 90, and 94 finished third at the NCAA World Series. Irish finished his career with a record with 1,246 wins. As you know, here in the North, okay, it's tough for coaches to get that many games in, let alone win that many games. So Irish, again, one of the all-time greats in college baseball. Okay, he is a member of 6 Hall of Fame, soon to be 7. They include Illinois State University, Bishop McNamara, Illinois Baseball Coaches Association, Lewis University. He's also the recipient of the Chicago Pitch and Hit Club Bill Veeck Lifetime Achievement Award, American Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame, and where this January he will receive the Lefty Gomez Award. Again, in college baseball, the Lefty Gomez Award is one of, if not the most prestigious and honor that we give to our coaches. Irish will be receiving that in January. Like many, I think I got to know Irish on the field first, in the other dugout, and I saw a demanding, a straightforward, fiery competitor in the other dugout. I then got to coach for Irish. I was one of his assistants, and I saw a fiery, demanding, and competitive boss, and that's what we call him. We call him coach, then we call him boss, then we call him mentor. And I know, Irish, right now I speak for all your assistant coaches. I know Dan is here, all your former players, that now I call you friend. And I would like to say on behalf of all of your players, assistant coaches, thank you and congratulations.
Good. You want to come up, Irish? Okay. Yeah, take your time, absolutely. Right through the, Brian, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to hold this up for you, or? Okay, just get real close to this one.
Yeah.
Real close to your face, thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Brian, and not quite the player I used to be, but I'm still here. I'd like to first off tonight thank my family. They're here. My wife, Pat, who's done such a great job with raising our entire family, 3 girls, and got one son-in-law here, and I appreciate all they've done. Baseball's been very good to me through the years, but it's always because I've surrounded myself with the right people, and I mean that for all the coaches. I'd also like to special recognition my pitching coach for 25 years at Lewis, Dan DiCaprio. Back there, Dan, stand up. Not only a pitching coach, but a very loyal assistant coach, which means a lot in baseball. When baseball changed my whole life. My father was into hunting and fishing, and we lived in a country environment, and however, he was killed in a car accident. And we moved to the city and lived with grandparents, and somehow along the line, I found the game of baseball, which provided me with plenty of mentors, good mentors, people that helped me so much and made me into the athlete that I was able to become. One thing was my grandfather stressed education, and I'm glad that I listened to him because I had the opportunity out of high school to sign a professional baseball contract, and you never know how long your history is going to last there. But he advised me to go on and get my education first and try professional ball. And as luck would be, I did get that chance, and some of my ties here to Joliet began. I remember as a pony leaguer in 1958 defeating Joliet. Billy Sudeikis, some of the names out of the past, Coach Orem, and it was the first time Kankakee ever beat Joliet in anything. So that was a big one for me there. But it also started me on the track of other people that were soon to be involved in my life, like Gordy Gillespie. I owe a great deal to Gordy. He was very instrumental in me signing a professional baseball contract. When 1966, I had led the nation in strikeouts and wins in the college division, and I didn't get drafted. And I had the opportunity to pitch against Lewis College in a summer game. You know, Gordy kept the team together. I struck out 20 out of 27, and Gordy said, "What in the hell are you doing here?" And Gordy's word was good. He'd just come off Eddie Spezio being a very successful sign with the Cardinals, and that was the start of my contacts with Gordy and becoming good friends with him and competitors, and God bless him for all his help and what he has done for baseball. But I'll just wrap up here real quickly. Baseball provided me with a platform to be successful in life, and what I tried to teach all my players were there were 4 important items if you're going to play baseball for me. 1 was God, 2 was family, 3 was education, and baseball batted 4th in the cleanup spot. And I expected a lot, as Brian talked about, that my 1980 team won 61 games in the spring. Now think about that. That's the most games ever won by a team in March, April, and May. We played a doubleheader every day, and even some days a tripleheader to get games in. I believed in playing a lot of baseball, and you got better by playing than you did just by sitting around and practicing all the time. But we practiced hard also. But again, I want to thank the committee, congratulate the other recipients tonight, and wish all of you a great fall here. Hopefully our Cubs will come through again this year. I'm getting worried, though, as we get our butts kicked today type thing. But I also I want to make one public statement here. I got in trouble many years ago speaking at the Will County Old Timers thing where they asked me what my main love was, and I said baseball. And it came out in the newspaper that I said that, and then my wife heard about it. She is my #1 love, not baseball. And she's staying with me longer in baseball. So as we're getting ready to celebrate our 47th anniversary, so thank you very much. And
And Irish isn't joking. Don Lattis and I went out to do the Lewis St. Francis game. I don't know what year it was, early 90s. And it's 36 degrees and it was snowing. And Irish and Gordy were sitting there at home plate trying to figure out whether or not they should play the game. And they both said, yeah, we'll play. So thanks for that. I was frozen for a month. All right, last but not least, I have in front of me the 1978 state championship basketball medal from our next inductee. And I still can't believe it that he actually fit into this. North Carolina State, class of 83, I think, right, Park? I believe so. This also will go into the permanent Joliet Area Sports Hall of Fame. To introduce our final inductee for the night is a 2005 Joliet Area Sports Hall of Fame inductee, the former head coach of the Lockport Porters, Mr. Bob Basarich. Bob, come on up.
Do I have to use this? Yes. First of all, I want you to know that don't look at the program. You don't know Scott Parzych by reading the program. It's a waste of time. Okay? And Jerry Schnee from the Chicago Tribune said he was the best player on the best team. He was the best center in basketball in the state of Illinois that year, not the best player on the best team. I'm going to tell you things you don't know about this guy. And as he knows, I've never been very positive. I got a 40-page letter here. Let me see now. Oh, yeah, here it goes. I could say a lot about Scott's career, but I'm not going to. I'm going to talk about every one of us have bumps in our life, bumps in the road. We all know that. Every one of us have witnessed that. Well, Scott had great grandparents, and his mother, Sharon, a great woman, and she's now going through some situations. He has a son, Blake, and a son, Parker. Has a wife, I think he's married, yeah, okay. Scott's married to Kathy, and they had a lot of situations in their life, and they overcame them. Oh, I better not forget his mother-in-law, Pat Buck. Okay, I don't want to make a mistake. But anyway, Scott played 98 games at Lockport High School, so 3 years. He averaged 25.5 rebounds and points per game in 98 games. You do the math. It's too much for me. I've never been that smart. He has the most baskets in one season. He has the second most rebounds in one season. And we know we had a lot of great Lockport players, and he ranks in the top 5 in every category. So that means he scored 1,039 points in 2 years. Tonight, Scott has one of his teammates here that played on the championship team. Terry Green, would you raise your hand? He also played with some players, Jeff Robinson, who passed away this past year, Chucky Travis, Terry Breen, and Jerry Barbo, one of his best friends. I'm not a positive thinking person, so I don't say a lot. What you don't know about Scott is he's a quiet competitor, a hard worker, disciplined, and has been just an outstanding person to know during my, I think it's a lot of years. I think that state tournament was 32 years ago. Too many. Okay, thank you. When you have a person that keeps quiet, a person that's competitive, a person that gets along with his teammates, a person that gets along with people in school and in the community, that's the type of top athlete you want to have. Things you don't know about Scott Parzych, and this is interesting. First of all, you know he went to North Carolina State. He played in the Continental League in Florida. He played in Turkey for a few years. He told me one story there. I think your phone went out, and they fixed it in 6 months. He went to Chicago State, North Shore League, and finally, he got a job. He is now vice president of IVC Corporation. I don't know what the hell you do, Scott, but you're a vice president. He supports the Shanahan School District very heavily. He's in the Illinois Basketball College Hall of Fame. When he was at North Carolina State, he played for Valvano. If you're a basketball person, you know that name. He played with Terry Gannon for Joliet Catholic for a year or two. So therefore, he's had quite a career. Scott, I'm still negative. I don't talk a lot about how great players people are, but I want you to know it's been a tremendous honor and a privilege for me to be your coach and your friend all these years, and congratulations to be inducted to the Hall of Fame because you deserve it. Thank you very much.
Scott, you're not getting away with not coming up in here and talking.
Thanks, Bob. I think. Yeah, I've got some notes. Thanks, Scotty. First of all, thank you to the Joliet Hall of Fame committee for thinking of me and inducting me. It's quite an honor. I walked downstairs to the exhibit and saw the great players, and some of them I knew, some of them I worked out in Rudy's gym with, especially Waller Downing, Terry Gannon, Tom Thayer, myself. Rudy, I don't know why the hell you're not in here. Maybe you need to win another meet or something. I don't know, but I was surprised you're not there. But Rudy was instrumental in after I got out of college and helped me build strength, because before they didn't think basketball players needed to lift weights. So Rudy has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people. So thank Francis on that. In addition, I'd like to thank the other inductees that have gone in. I'm going to make a semi-joke. I'm not politically correct, but an Irishman, a Greek, a couple Italians, and a Polak. You're not going to get much Joliet, more Joliet than that. Right? I mean, Laketa's a Serb, so we'll say a Serbian's here as well. I'd also like to thank, I mean, I'm up here as a team player. I played on some great teams, had great coaches, grade school. Tom Ross is here. He was one of my teammates in grade school. I think my 7th and 8th grade years, we went 57-2. The thing that some of us athletes remember are not the wins, they're the losses. I remember those 2 losses in grade school better than anything. And still to this day, Nick Rubicic blames me for the loss to Gompers in St. Ray's tournament. And every time I ride from Shanahan to the Lockport and I ride down Brake Street, I flip Gompers Junior High the bird. I still have not made amends for that. Have not made a shout out to George Kraft and George Heath. I mean, so I still remember their names. So the losses, and Bob says he's negative. Guess where I get that from? You know, it's my wife says, "Why are you so negative?" I'm like, I was brought up that way. So, also like to thank my grade school coaches, because Ron Kowinski and Bob Wason, those guys were instrumental in my fundamental development. I was very, I wouldn't say very awkward, but gangly. They worked with me and coached me as 7th and 8th grade years on the fundamentals of the game, something I think that misses now. They would grab me, beat me, pound me until I got it right. And if I didn't get it right then, I ran. So I better get it right. These were the coaches that I had to play for my junior high and my high school years. So without Ron Kowinski, Bob Wason in junior high, and we weren't afraid to play competition either. We went after everybody. So we played tough competition. Also, a shout out to Ernie and Erling Semo and Matt Semo in that group, because we would always be down at the Semo's house playing ball. Whether it was basketball, football, baseball, we were at Semo's house playing ball with each other and having fun. And we got a little bit of trouble too, but we won't go into those things. Additionally, I'd like to thank my wife, Kathy. I know she's here for me today. We have a son, Blake, who has a football game going on right now. I've always said as a parent I would attend all of my kids' events whenever possible. And I felt like, being a community guy, I had to be here for this event. It was just that important to me. It's quite an honor. It really is, especially with the folks that I'm going in with, this, listening to their stories and how much they were, and Coach, a hell of a career that you developed as well. That's truly amazing. So shout out to my wife, Kathy, but I think my wife, Kathy, here is half for me. I think she also wants to be on Otis Wilson's dance card tonight. So if there's Otis Wilson's in the house, guess who's got the first dance? Don't save the last dance for me, though. Got a couple other notes here as far as my coaches are concerned. I played for the best coaches. Kowinski Wason, Bob Olson, Bob Meter, Raleigh Valentino. Raleigh was Bob's Abbott to Costello, his Laurel to his Hardy. I'd listen to Bob because Bob was always pointing in our chest. He was always trying to beat us up, and he was instructing, he was coaching. I'd always walk over to Raleigh and say, "Hey, Raleigh, what the heck is he saying?" He's like, "Just keep doing what you're doing. Listen to what he says. Do it once, and then you'll be okay. You know what to do." So without Raleigh Valentino and that buffer with Bob, I don't think we would have won a state championship. So, and then I'd also like to thank my other 2 head coaches in college. There's not many guys that can say they played for 2 coaches who won national championships. I started with Norm Sloan, who won a championship with David Thompson in '73. And I also played for, as Coach Basarich said, Jim Valvano. Great coach. And I also played with Terry Gannon 1 year, who was in the inductee here. And I've always said that I played a lot of ball, a lot of people. Terry Gannon is the best shooter I have ever played with. He can handle the ball a little bit, but spot-up shooter, Terry Gannon was the best. Better than John Plaker, yes. And we won't even talk about Scott. He had the running jump shot before Derrick Rose had it, and I never still understood that. It's beside me. Also like to thank my son Parker for being here. I really never coached his teams, or I still give him sports analogies on life, and he's like, Dad, what are you talking about? I mean, everything's a sports analogy. What is this? So, plus coming from the school of Basarich, I'm not sure if Parker would be able to handle my coaching technique. Finally, there's a couple of things that I really want to say. My teammates, grade school teammates, high school teammates. And today, and Coach Ivelow's here as well, and guys that played football, John Butler's here. When we watch film, it's not to watch the film to enjoy it. You watch film to look at mistakes. So when you look at film, and I finally, for the first time, watched our state championship ball game today. My wife was with me. I pulled it out, put it on YouTube, and I sat in bed and watched it. And with a critical eye, I'm like, oh, I'm making these mistakes. This didn't go right. I watched it like you would game film. But there came a moment I'm like, actually, this was okay. I'm okay with making some of these mistakes. I pulled it out maybe 3 years ago, because somebody at Manuka High School, one of my son's, Blake's friends, or one of his coaches said, your dad was good, but he couldn't shoot free throws. And as an athlete, you're like, well, you know. And I remember vividly, because as a kid, I always wanted to be the next Thornridge. I wanted to be Quinn Buckner. I wanted to be Ellis Files. I wanted to be Jeff Hickman. I want to be Chester Green. I want to be Roger Powell. But I don't want to be 4th place. I don't want to be 3rd place. I want to be 1st place. And Quinn Buckner, who's God to me, did it undefeated twice, but he lost 1 game. So those were the guys that I looked up to. So I go back and look at this film when Blake was in high school, and I could vividly remember standing at the free throw line in Champaign, packed house, state championship game, and being at the free throw line by myself. Technical foul. Raleigh goes, you're shooting them. And I'm walking to the line by myself saying, this is a dream that is going to come true right now. I'm going to be at the free throw line, and I'm going to make these 3, and we're going to get ahead by an amount that they won't be able to surmount. I calmly walked to the line, drilled all 3, went back to the huddle, and used a vulgar, comment. So when you think of the dreams that you really wanted to do, and if you work hard enough, if you have the right coaches, if you have the right teammates, Terry Green, I mean, we were like family. And we lost one of the family this year with Jeff Robinson, and that was sad. I've had great teammates. I've had great coaches. I've been extremely blessed in my life as far as athletics are concerned. I've been extremely blessed with my family. This award is really something I really never expected. I didn't play these games to be all-state. I played because we love to play. I just love to play hoops. I'm going to tell one story how my life changed because I wanted to be a baseball player. And this includes my brother, Rick. And I'll end here. I know it's getting a little long. My family moved around a lot when we were younger. I lived with my grandparents as well. We moved around. We would go to grade school to grade school to grade school. And I think one year I went to Taft grade school. My parents felt a little guilty, so they bought us new bikes. Of course, my brother got the 5-speed. I got the 3-speed. So we're at Delwood Park. We're 2 knuckleheads out there, I'm pretending I'm Bob Gibson, he's pretending he's Tom Seaver. And the very first pitch, we're at Delwood Park, he throws the ball and it hits me in the neck. God dang it, Rick. So he threw another one before the end. We would have a game where we throw 25 pitches to each other. So guess what? It's my turn to pitch. First pitch, guess what? Right at his head. Drilled him. He come running over by me. And that's about the time that aluminum bats came into play. There was no more wood bats. Aluminum bats came into play. So we got these new bikes right next to each other. We weren't going to hit each other with the bats, but that would be stupid. So he hits my front tire with his bat. I hit his front tire with the bat. I hit his seat. He hits my bike. Needless to say, 5 minutes later, we couldn't carry or ride the bikes back to our home. We had just got brand new. I was grounded the entire summer with my brother in the yard from that insanity. And if anybody you know my brother, Darren McCarthy's here, he knows my brother. I couldn't take it. There's only so much wiffle ball and kickball you can play in a summer. But there was a basketball hoop outside the window, and I went to my mom and said, Mom, I can't stand Rick. Do you mind if I go over and shoot hoops? Because I wanted to be a baseball player. And luckily, there was a basketball out there, and I would spend 3 to 4 hours there shooting on a hoop that was on a telephone pole. So that's when my life went from being Bob Gibson to being Quinn Buckner at that moment. I worked hard at it, I had great coaches, and I had a passion and a love for that game from the very beginning. As everybody probably did. It's probably Coach did. It's probably George did. It's probably Cindy did. It's probably Don when he wrestled. We all had a passion and a love for it. So with that, I'm grateful, I'm humbled, I'm honored, but I wouldn't be here without my teammates and my coaches. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yep. And your That will conclude our induction ceremony for tonight. Again, one more round of applause for our 5 inductees. Don, Cindy, George, Scott, and Irish. Thanks, guys. The party is just getting started. This is Act 1. We have Soul Motion that is all set to go. We have Otis Wilson. We have Steve McMichael here. We have the incredible restaurants. On behalf of Greg Peerbolt and everybody with the Joliet Museum, I'm Scott Slocum. Thank you very much for coming out, and stick around and enjoy the party.